going on? What's going on?
Entertain the Geeky.
Hi!
What's up?
Okay, so we missed last week. Just a bunch of life happened and all that.
Yeah, adulting is hard.
It's so stupid.
I hate adulting.
Well,
Wish I could go back to being a teenager. That was the best times.
I'm gracious about parts of it. Like, there's some adulting that just kicks ass, where it's like, yeah, at any point in time, I can do whatever I want. And I have adult money now that I did not have as a teenager.
That's true. That's true.
Like, that's a win.
Yeah.
You want to buy something? All right, you buy shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem I always have around, like, Christmases and birthdays. When people say, what do you want? I'm just like, nothing. When I want something, I just buy it.
I got it for myself already. Yeah.
I'm an adult. I don't wait around for Christmas to give you a big list of all the things I want for the whole year.
There's certain things that I'm so weird about buying. So, like, I have to get a new light for our setup here. And I'm so fucking turned off by the idea of spending money on this light, even though it's for production value.
Right.
And then the foam that I have on the walls, this is another thing. So I didn't want to buy foam to begin with, but it started yellowing.
Oh, sure.
If you look at the gray, and it was like...
Foam don't last forever.
It was like overnight, though. I was pissed because I'm like, man, I just bought this shit. Bought it, put it on the walls. There's an adhesive there, so like it's a pain in the ass to get off. So now I'm looking at different materials to put on the wall there.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I like the setup, but man, I don't want to spend money on it. Like, so I'm like, should I wait until birthday or Christmas and be like, will you get me foam?
Yeah. Will you just buy me gift cards to places that sell the stuff I need? That's usually if you find some kind of project, that's what you would ask for as an adult. If someone asks you, hey, what do you want for
100%.
Christmas? Gift card to Home Depot so I can finish building that thing I started building a year ago and never finished building.
What was one of the things that we asked for was Tupperware.
Sure.
Because I've always bought the disposable stuff since I've been like a grown up. I'm like, I'll just get the disposable Tupperware. Because if friends come over and
Wait, then what's the point of Tupperware?
So it's good. You can wash it. You can use it as much as you want, but it's a little bit cheaper, a little bit thinner. So, like, if you lose it or if you fucking screw it up in the microwave or something.
Oh, yeah, or you leave it in the fridge too long and it goes bad.
Right. Then you'd feel less bad getting rid of it. Or, like, if Thanksgiving is here and you're sending people off with food because, like, I do Thanksgiving here now. Sure. I'm like, all right, well, take food, everybody. Yeah. And I don't feel bad about missing out on that Tupperware. But if it was like, a $100 set of Pampered Chef, I'd be like, man, I'm going to need this back.
I usually feel pretty bad about putting more plastic into landfills because that stuff's going to be there for hundreds of years.
No, we recycle the shit out of that. Like, we're lucky here in St. Louis County because recycling's included in a lot of our trash services.
Yeah, I mean, I think we pay a little extra for the recycling, but we don't use it anymore because one day I was outside having a smoke on garbage day, and I had my garbage can and my recycling can, and the garbage truck came by and picked them both up and dumped them both into the same truck.
Fucks.
And I was just like, so it's not recycled?
That shit would never fly here. So, like, we have two
just
different trucks at two different times here in my neighborhood.
Okay.
But my neighbors are kind of hoity-toity sometimes with shit like that. So they'd be like, no, you can't. We're calling the police. So like one of those ridiculous 911 calls. The trash man. They'll be like, is the trash man hurting you? No. Did he hurt somebody? No, he put the recycling in it.
Put the trash and the recycling in the same truck. Yeah, I mean, I would try to recycle and I like the idea of it, but look, at the end of the day, and this is a little weirdly off topic, but at the end of the day, since we started putting the onus of recycling on the consumer, which it's not our fault that there's all this extra plastic, it's soda bottle makers and
right.
bag makers. They've caused a big problem and they put it on us to make us feel like we're responsible for it. But even since we started doing that, which happened in our lifetimes, right? Like happened when we were young, when we first started really putting, we're going to separate out the trash from the recyclable trash and we're going to put it in a different trash can. We're going to have a green one for the recycling and a blue one for the trash.
I think it is up to the individual to an extent. I do think I do think if you're producing products and or services, and let's say you're a multi-billion-dollar organization, we'll use Gatorade as an example here.
Sure. I do drink a lot of Gatorade.
Is there a reason why they couldn't use something that was a little more eco-friendly and like a biodegradable plastic?
Right. The onus should be on them to fix this problem, because since we've started doing recycling, I heard somebody talking about this at one point. We've only recycled like 10% of the things we intend to recycle. Huh. So it's not working, right? It's not actually a measure that's protecting anyone or saving anyone. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And it should be on the companies that produce these kind of products to find better ways to produce their products.
I mean, I feel like we should go back to glass bottles anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more of a pleasurable experience, and you could turn them in.
Yeah, exactly.
When our parents were kids, that's what you did. You got a bottle of Pepsi.
You collected a bunch of bottles, and you said, I'm getting 5 cents for each bottle, and I need $10 for this concert, so I need, this many bottles to get my $10.
Well, I mean, no. Even with that, so like if you got soda, it came in a glass bottle back then.
Oh yeah.
And you were, I guess, you might have got 5 cents off your next Pepsi that you bought or whatever when you turned in at the grocery store.
No, you could actually take those. You can still do that. You can take glass bottles to a recycling center and they'll give you some cash.
Right.
Yeah, you can still do that. It says it usually on the glass bottle.
How much easier of a process? Because isn't glass from sand?
Yes.
So how much easier of a process is it to just melt down your existing glass versus having to refine it from a raw material? I'm sure it's much easier.
Of course, yeah.
And less labor intensive and all that. So it makes more sense. Why don't we do more glass bottles? I don't know. That's not our thing on the show here. So sorry, guys.
No, yeah, that's not. It's just a kind of a tangent. I think you got me into.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't mean it.
What are we talking about? We're talking about stuff? Nerdy stuff?
This week, we're talking about the shit that we've been up to, the things that we've been engaging with. And so we have our bonus content picked out, and I'm not gonna spoil it just yet.
Yeah, you got to wait. It's bonus content.
But
you got to wait for that.
So what have you been up to these past 2 weeks here? Because it's been a moment.
So I am currently rereading the Homeland trilogy of Forgotten Realms D&D novels because they did these 25th anniversary complete editions that have all 3 books in the series in one big book. And I was down at a different store working one day, and they had it on their shelf, and I was like, "Oh, I'm taking this. This is mine now." And then when I got back to my store, I ordered all the other 3.
Nice,
because they're $20 a pop, and it's 3-4 books in one.
Fuck, I need to get those.
Yeah. The first one I'm having a hard time getting back in, but 2, 3, and 4, I can get. That's the whole original series of books. It was 4, 7, 10, 13 books. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 13 books in the original series. But yeah, so I've been rereading that, and I flew through the first one, Homeland. That book is so good. It's just it was really my first when I was young. It was really my first window into Drow society. Dark elf, if you're unfamiliar out there. And their society is just nuts. The whole, inviting treachery, and if you can cleanly kill someone, you just get away with it. No one cares. They applaud it. You know what I mean? You can just destroy another house in the hierarchy, which is how the book opens. And as long as you kill everyone that could point the finger at you of noble birth, they just pretend it never happened. What are you talking about? That house never existed. It was always this house.
Sounds like corporate America.
Yeah, I mean it's an Ouroboros, right? It's a snake that's eating its own tail.
Right.
And the opening chapter, when they're making war on this house, the 2 noble brothers of this house are there. Nalfine, he's the elder boy of the house, and Dinan, he's the second boy of the house. And they're kind of wandering through after the initial wave, and they're kind of just mopping up things and looking for anybody that's left alive. And at one point, Dinan just says, "What was that?" And Nalfine, who's a mage, he kind of points his little staff, "What's up?" And he gets stabbed in the back.
Oh, man.
And Dinan leans in real close to him, close to his ear, and says, "Now I am the elder boy of the house, and Nalfine be damned. And so like right away, you're just like, this place is brutal. Like, and he's not punished for that. One of the quotes from the book that I love is, those most noble in our city spend their lives watching over their backs for the knives that would find them. Their deaths usually come from the front. Now that's a roundabout way of saying the people you have to fear the most are the people that are close to you, that have the most to gain from your death.
Yeah, keep your friends close, enemies closer, kind of thing. Yeah.
And so, like, right away, I mean, it just gives me chills just talking about it, right? Like, right away, you're just like, what is this place? And then as Drist is born, the young dark elf, the baby that's born that night, he was to be sacrificed, actually. That's another thing that happens that's crazy. They sacrifice their third-born son to Lolth. It's part of their life, their
religion, yeah.
But after Nalfine got killed, they were about to stab the baby, and the priestess, the sister that was connected to Nalfine, felt his death.
And she's like, oh, not a third son.
And she went, whoa, stop. And she was like, what? We have to sacrifice the child for our victory to be complete. And she goes, he's not the third-born child. He is the second boy of the house.
Oh, wow.
And her sisters all confirm this, right? Because they're all psychically linked to various people that have been out hunting. And he lives. So he was to be sacrificed on the day of his birth.
Jesus.
It's only Dinin's betrayal of Nalfine
that saved him?
That saved his life.
Holy cow.
And trust me when I say he did not do that to save his life.
Right.
He did that to better his station in their house hierarchy, because Drow society is also matriarchal. Mm-hmm. So the men are left to fight amongst themselves. The women don't even really care what the men do. Right. Unless that thing is disrespecting the women or, disrespecting the religion,
right, or dishonoring
speaking
the
out
name.
of turn.
Yeah. Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. So I flew through that first book. The first book is Drist growing up and him going off to the academy, becoming a fighter, becoming the most skilled fighter in his entire society, really. I mean, that's how they describe him in the book. And then seeing what his society really is and realizing he wants no part of it at all. And instead of just being trapped in an endless cycle of violence, he decides to leave.
Becomes an adventurer.
And go out into the Underdark, which is not a place to start an adventure. If you've ever started an adventure there, the Underdark is a crazy, dangerous place. And he's all alone, save for the magical panther that he carries with him. He's got this little statue, this little onyx statue of a panther that he can summon from the astral
plane. Come, Tigro.
Yeah, Guinevere. Guinevere is the name of the
Tigro
panther.
Was just what I was calling
it. So that's one nerdy thing I've been up to. But what about you?
So I actually, funny enough that you mentioned that, because I love the lit RPG thing. And I just finished He Who Fights with Monsters 8.
Nice.
I don't know if you've got into that series at all.
No, I haven't.
It's fucking incredible. But I don't read these books. I listen to them on audio form.
Sure.
And the guy that does it, Shirtaloon, is the author. I forget the gentleman's name who actually narrates it, but he's Australian.
Okay.
It works out splendidly because the main character is a Japanese guy that was raised in Australia.
Plus, you got those soothing Australian tones.
Oh, and everything. So it's interesting because in the series, this guy basically wakes up in another world.
Sure.
Naked, bald, and it's because he died. And there's something called the World Phoenix that gave him a rebirth in a completely different universe, more or less. So he wakes up in this like
have to read that.
High
that sounds interesting.
fantasy magic world where he has to his initial interactions with other people in this world are them trying to sacrifice him.
Okay.
So they're getting ready to kill him, and this group of adventurers is also captured, and he does this thing where he sets them free somehow, and they're like, there's no reason that you, because you're a bitch, should have been able to rescue us. And there was no reason for you to even do it just because we don't know each other. And he's like, you gotta look out for people. And that's like the main character's whole thing through this whole series is, no, I got to look out for people that can't look out for themselves. And they describe him as Batman-esque at certain points in the story.
Sure.
But, oh my God. So he ends up getting into it with this, they call it an astral being. And it's a god, more or less.
Sure.
And these beings are technically more powerful than gods in most circumstances. They're the ones that deal with basically shaping the universe.
Oh, the primordial forces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the World Phoenix is one, and the Builder is another. Well, you learn over the course of the story that the Builder was once immortal, and the Builder has this just total hard-on for the main character, Jason. His name's Jason Asano. Even more reason for you to read
Weird.
it.
Yeah, okay.
So there's this friction all the time, and Jason goes as far as to like spit in this astral being's face, talk to him like he's a peer, and people are like, you don't talk to astral beings like you're their peer. You're not even diamond rank.
Sure.
You're a boy. And he's like, no, that's not how shit works on Earth. He's like, anybody can talk to anybody anyway.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what your status is. So just finished book 8 of that. Book 9 comes out in a couple of days here, so I wanted to make sure I was there.
Yeah. You want to reread that last one to get you.
I didn't even reread it, so I was just behind.
You're listening to it.
I took a few months off because I was like, man, all I'm doing is listening to this series. I need to like fucking go live life a little bit. And I've had, if you've got downtime doing whatever, you can listen to an audiobook. So I just fucking pop a headphone in and be like, all right, here we go.
Right.
And oh my God, the friendship stuff that they did in this series. So these adventurers that he rescues early on, he becomes very good friends with them. And
this is all sounding very like 80s D&D cartoon too.
Totally is 80s D&D cartoon.
Where he like the one kid the kids get like sucked into the fantasy world, and the quest is they're trying to find a way home.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
This is very 80s D&D cartoon.
It's so fucking good though. And it's a grown up. He's a full-blown grown up.
Well, sure. Yeah. They were kids in the old cartoon.
Right. But yeah, so I've been just sucked way into that. And then I found out over the past couple of weeks here that Dungeon Crawler Carl, another series that I'm absolutely in love with, is about to get I think it's the seventh or eighth book, something like that. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, 7th book. And I'm just like, fuck. So they released the Audible version so you can read it. I will only listen to this series. Jeff Hayes, the guy that narrates it, is freaking insane.
Sure.
So it's like listening to a movie basically, and this guy does every voice and all. Oh my God.
I mean, I get that. I think the problem I've always had with audiobooks, because I've listened to books before, but the problem I always get into is when I'm listening to someone read the story to me, I'm getting their affectation and their context. I like holding a book in my hand and reading it myself because I want to create that, right? Like, sure. I want to see between the lines. I want to create the mental picture. Seems like when I'm listening to someone else, because of connotation and syntax and and how, dialogue lines are delivered and stuff, you're interpreting the intensity or lack thereof within this particular moment.
But you watch a movie.
Yeah, but that's why books are different, right? Like,
I guess
because
like
that gives you, the reader, the option of
you're
it's
the director at that point.
How
in time.
that mental picture is painted comes down to you.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but it's lovely to hear somebody's interpretation of it. I guess it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it gives you the opportunity, again, to, if I'm trying to do something else, if I'm reading something, I have to sit there and read it. I can't be doing shit on top of that.
Right.
I lack whatever mental wherewithal it takes to do that. And I think anybody that's reading something with any kind of, intensity or anything like that would be in the same boat. You can't do dishes and read a book.
Well, no, of course not. Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to do that with an audiobook.
Yeah, and most of the time, if I've done audiobooks, it's of things I've read.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, I would love to hear this story again, but maybe I'll let Patrick Stewart tell it to me today.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're a good man, sir.
He is a great man. He's also a sir.
I know.
He is knighted.
That's why I said sir.
Yeah.
Sir Patrick Stewart. I need to go to England so I can get knighted.
I don't think you can just go get knighted. I think there has to be a purpose for your knighting.
Oh yeah, I'll give him a reason.
Oh, yeah?
I'll be like, you fucking do this now. I'm an American. And they'll be like, that's the
Instant
problem.
gratification is my thing. Don't shame me for that.
I'm going to use my credit card to do this too.
Well, that's interesting that we're both absorbed in book series. That's interesting. I did not expect that.
Oh, dude. I never would have given it a shot. But one of my childhood best friends was like, you have to listen to this series, and this series. And I was like, look, man, I appreciate what you're saying here, but I have so many irons and so many fires right now that I'm not even going to begin to try to fuck with that. And he's like, just listen to it while you're doing shit, asshole.
Sure.
And I was like, all right, fine. So he got me started with Dungeon Crawler Carl. And if you've not done a lit RPG audiobook, Dungeon Crawler Carl is for sure the place to start. Fucking incredible. Jeff Hayes, amazing narrator. Matt Dinneman, the writer, brilliant. I've tried to get both of them on the show.
Yeah.
I had more luck with Jeff Hayes than Matt Dinneman. Matt Dinneman's very busy. He plays in a band. He's doing all these audiobooks.
Sure.
I actually got to talk to Jeff Hayes' people, and they were like, all right, we would like to work with you in some capacity. We just don't know what that is yet.
Okay.
And then they ghosted me.
Sure.
Dicks. No, they're fine.
It happens.
They're
it's
busy,
the internet.
dude. They're busy.
We're not big enough for people to pay attention to like that yet. So
right. Well,
maybe one day we'll have that kind of pull.
They took the time to have a half-hour video call with me, which I appreciated.
Sure.
So
like I would love to be able to reach out to people like Salvatore and just say, hey, do you want to come talk about the new novel you just released?
Right.
And they say, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you want to jump on Zoom, buddy? And you're like, yes, I do. Zoom me.
Maybe one day we'll have that kind of pull.
Oh, we will. We may. I think it's about the pull that you assume. That's the funniest thing about doing this.
I did get Scott Snyder to retweet me that one time.
Right. And we've had things like that a few times. And people have been like, yeah, we'll chat with you a little bit or whatever. Sure. And it's cool. I don't know why.
We're so terrible. We don't know why anybody would want to talk to us.
Well, I think if anybody listens to the show, I think they know that we care about the hobby and the culture and all that.
Oh, we do. We definitely do.
I think that's one of the things that's our in.
Yeah, I think the problem I have had that I used to have when talking about this thing or that thing is I'm always just really excited about everything.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of can come off as boring, right? Because a lot of things I think that people want to see is dissent. People want to hear that you didn't like that thing. I don't know why that is. It bothers me because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear why you didn't like that thing. I want to hear why you liked it,
I mean, if there are glaring problems with something, I think it's something.
We've had honest conversations on the show about
we should have conversations.
Glaring problems.
Right. But for the most part, it's okay to fucking like it. And it's okay to like it for what it is.
Well, yeah. But that's what I don't understand. I mean, I talked about that when we were talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I talked about that, this thing I'm seeing where people are just down on everything Marvel's doing right now. And is it all perfect? No, but it's never all been perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had a couple of monster smash successes and everyone just remembers everything about those first three phases as a monster smash success when that was not the case.
No.
There was a lot of misses before we got to some good hits. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I just don't understand why the popular stance right now is to hate on it.
Well, I think it's with Marvel in particular. I have a Scott Snyder thing too, so I'll come back to that. But with Marvel in particular, I think that it is so mainstream now that it's cool to not like it. It's cool to go against the grain. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing because Ant-Man and the Wasp was a fucking kick-ass
That was a good movie.
It was
Why did everybody like that movie? I loved that movie.
Legend of the Five Rings. That was a kick-ass flick, dude. That was a badass kung fu just thriller.
It had Tony Leung in it. What more do you people want?
Badass fucking movie.
He's one of the #1 celebrities in China. What more do you people want?
Multiverse of Madness was that was a cool movie. You did need some background get into it.
You had to watch WandaVision.
But it was a cool-ass movie, man. Yeah. And, like, the recent Marvel movies, I've been very taken back by. I'm like, man, these are fucking cool.
I'm super ready for Guardians of the Galaxy, man.
Oh, dude, anything that James Gunn touches, I'm good with.
Super ready for that. I can't wait for that.
I remember when I started at the shop, Guardians of the Galaxy had just come out, and you had that thing playing on the TV 24/7 at the fantasy shop.
When the first trailer dropped, every single person that walked in the door, I was like, did you see the trailer?
Come here.
I got it queued up. Get over here. We're going to watch it right now. I think we watched the first day that trailer went up. I think we watched it over 100 times just from different people coming in and out of the store because that trailer dropped on a Tuesday. And Wednesday is the day when I would see all my nerds, all my nerd friends. And yeah, I think we watched that trailer like 100 times.
You're like, come here.
My coworkers were tired of it.
Sit on Papa's lap. We're going to watch this together.
and I remember when Colonius came into the store, one of the things he said was, see, this is where they're going to fail. No one gives a shit about these characters like I do, but the mainstream audience, and how wrong we were.
Oh my God. Well, so at that point in time, that was the breath of fresh air for superhero movies.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything different. It was just Space Avengers.
Right, but it wasn't characters that we've been seeing all the time every day for the last 50 years.
Okay, first of all, we're only just past phase 1 at that point, right? Guardians of the Galaxy came out prior to Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yes.
But also, look, while I get what you're saying, the characters are different, the archetypes that those characters fill are exactly the same.
Right.
Star-Lord is Captain America. He's the man that comes from a different time and doesn't fully get your newfangled future ideologies.
He's not the Boy Scout that we have with Captain America or Superman.
Hold on.
Okay,
not done.
Shoot.
Tony is Rocket.
Okay.
They're both drunks who quip and are smartasses to everyone else around them for no other reason other than they kind of like being smartasses. Gamora is obviously Black Widow. They're both super stealthy, trained assassins, and they're going to go in and they're going to kick your ass and you're not even going to know they were there, right? Groot is Hulk. He's the big, strong guy.
Okay.
And Drax is Thor. He's kind of a dumb guy, but he's super strong. He may be a god, right? Like, it's just Space Avengers. Yes, are the characters not the same people? Sure, but they fit the same archetypes so that the movie hits the same. It was just Avengers with aliens, is what it was.
Again, based on...
And I'm not knocking it for that. I love the movie, but I'm saying, like, there was no way they were going to fail. They already had succeeded with Avengers.
Right. The blueprint was there, but the thing that was so fresh about it was, again, I'm not seeing the characters that have been in front of me all the time in all media. Like, anytime you get online or anytime it's in the news or something like that, they don't talk about, oh, now fucking Drax is gay. They're like, oh, now Superman's gay. It's always the mainstays that people are most concerned with. So it was very cool and very fresh to get characters that weren't. Oh yeah,
I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. And
I know you did.
The third one, yeah, I'm very excited and a little scared that this is going to be the end of Rocket. I think that's the big gut punch that they're hiding in this movie, is that this is Rocket's finale.
Right.
And that's probably why the Guardians will disband.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. God damn it.
I'm calling it.
Well, they fucking...
I don't like it, but I think that is what's going to happen. And I'm not alone. All of you out there have been talking about this on the internet for months.
They've ridden this fucking Groot thing to places we never knew it would go, though.
Well, and I think we're finally back to a version of the first movie's Groot. Right? A full-on, no, I'm a big tree guy, and I'm really cool, but he seems like he's not as nice as the original Groot was, because the original Groot wasn't raised by these crazy people.
Right.
The second Groot was, so he's more akin to who they are now, which I think was a nice little way to evolve him into something different than what he initially could have been.
Yeah, to create one. He's seen fucking universe-ending threats now, which he didn't see the first go-around.
No, he definitely did as the first go round. They're Flora Colossi. They're the oldest beings.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
universe.
I guess that's
They've
true.
watched rise and fall, man.
But I'm talking him have personal experience with a Thanos or something like that.
Yeah, the Flora Colossi protected the balance of the universe. So, they've definitely dealt with like universe-ending threats.
Groot is a young one in comparison to some of the other ones.
Not the first Groot.
Not the
the first Groot was like centuries old.
Yeah, but centuries is a few hundred years.
Well, I understand, but he's dealt with some despots. He's a Flora Colossi. Okay. And for his lifetime, he was the last Flora Colossi.
Fair enough.
Now, they didn't really do that in the movies, but in the comics, yeah, like, no, that's who Groot is. The Flora Colossi were the oldest beings in the universe.
No, and that part I understand, but I'm talking just where Groot's been since we've seen him. Because, so the Flora Colossi, one of the things that happens to them, the only reason he can say, I am Groot, is as they get older, their vocal cords like harden or something like that, and they lose the ability to speak altogether other than basically grunts and groans. So they start off when they're younger being able to speak, and then getting older, they're supposed to lose the ability to talk.
The Flora Colossi don't talk like you or me. That's why when we hear one talk, it just goes, I am Groot. Right?
But eventually...
That's not what it's saying.
Eventually, they lose the ability to even say, I am Groot. Based off of what I've
No, yeah, but they
encountered.
don't need that ability.
Right.
Flora Colossi communicate through... scent and pheromone and stuff like that. They don't need to talk to each other, right?
Sure.
They're plants. Although I did really like there was in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game that Square Enix did, there was a moment where they go to a planet that has these old plants called the it doesn't even matter what they're called. They're supposed to be very old and they're sentient, right? And they're like, well, we got to get into this cave. Is this plant going to move out of the way? And the one girl goes, well, maybe if you ask it nicely. And Groot, just realizing what's going on, just walks up to it, bashes his hands onto it, and just screams, I am Groot! And it moves. And I remember playing that and Corey going, what just happened there? I was like, the Flora Colossi are like the first plants.
He told it to get the fuck out of the way.
They're the gods of plants. And this is the last one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so I told you I'd come back to the Scott Snyder thing.
Sure.
Did you, so they just launched their own independent publishing thing. Did you see that?
I did.
That's fucking rad, dude.
Yeah. I don't remember what the book was, though. They talked about a book in an interview recently. Yeah, it's gone. I lost it. But yeah, Snyder's kind of been taking a back seat from
the mainstream
stuff for a while. Like he's doing more with image.
Yeah,
he's actually just in the process of doing a book with Francis Manapul. God, what a team up that was.
Right.
Called Clear. That's actually pretty weird, but also quite interesting so far. It's only going to be 3 issues, and only 2 are out so far.
He's good at weird, though, man.
He is.
He does it well.
Yeah, he's also still doing Noctera, I believe, which is also an image book.
Witches is getting an Amazon adaptation, which is fucking crazy.
Really?
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm like,
how?
All the Scott
book
Snyder
didn't last
shit.
very long.
It didn't, but it was fucking good.
I mean, sure, but like, how are they gonna tell the story beyond the scope?
If you're looking, if it's just a fucking short series, you're talking a 6 episode series or something. That'd be legit as fuck, man. It'd be good.
Amazon, just like any other company that produces television.
No, they're gonna fuck it up.
If something is successful, they're gonna make more of it.
Right. Well, like they did with Lock and Key, like. They basically finished the entire series in the first, season, and then they're like, all right, season 2.
That was Netflix, though.
I know. It was dirty. It was dirty what they did. But yeah, I think it was Amazon that's picking that one up.
Okay.
Forgive me if I'm mistaken. But it should. I loved this series. I thought it was a kick-ass series. I would like to see fucking Birthright, too. But I'll never get that, and it's not Scott Snyder, so it's not.
There's a couple of things that I think would make for some good series. Moonshine.
Oh, Moonshine would be badass.
Werewolf Story.
Yep.
Yeah. Redneck. A Vampire Story. There's a few really good ones that I think, man, they should turn these into television.
They really should. Sex Criminals. No, I'm kidding.
You think, like, people hear that and they think, What?
I know.
Criminals. I know. It's actually a very beautiful story.
It's a good series.
About people trying to save a library. They're trying to save a library that's going to get closed, and all the books are going to get destroyed. They're trying to save a library.
Like this.
And yeah, sex plays a part of it. But they're trying to save a library. But so anyway, what else, right? Like, I know me personally, I finished up the Resident Evil 4 remake, or more, I was forced to finish up the Resident Evil 4 remake because God of War Ragnarok dropped New Game Plus.
Oh, God.
So I spent more time in that game, carrying over all my stuff, maxing out all my armors and weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just finished it last night, actually. It's why I was a little late today, because I was up till like 3 a.m.
Jesus, dude.
Because I was so close, and it was like 1, and I was like, oh, I can't stop now. I'm in the end game here. I can't stop.
We're here, man. We're here.
I got to continue. I got to finish this up. But now I think I got to play Jedi Fallen Order, because Jedi Survivor comes out in like a week and a half. And then I'll have literally 2 weeks to finish Jedi Survivor before Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
Well, I mean, your time will be perfect then.
I don't know if I can do that. It depends on how big Jedi Survivor is.
In you.
Yeah, well, it depends on how big it is. The first one's pretty big. Like, it's got a lot of that Metroidvania, like revisiting old locations with new abilities type of stuff going on. So if that stuff carries over in a Jedi Survivor in a bigger game, that could take some time, you know?
Hells yeah, it could.
So,
but I mean, you've got 60 hours in the next 2 weeks. I believe in
you.
Look,
there's a very good chance that if Jedi Survivor is not finished on the day Tears of the Kingdom drops, I'm just not going to finish Jedi Survivor.
Abandoned. Yeah, I understand.
Until later.
It'll take me a couple months to get back to it.
I'm so hyped for this game. I cannot wait to play this game.
I know you are.
I just am so excited. So
my D&D group is getting back together. It sounds like a fucking broken relationship when you say it like that. But we're getting back together. I love it. But no. So Thursday, we're getting the group back together, and I'm excited. There's like a cautious optimism here. So I had a couple of people that I wanted to play in it, but are like, yeah, I can't commit to every week or every other week or anything like that. So I'd like to have like a stand-in spot. Not always the most fun thing to do as a DM, and I'm DMing this go around. So I'm like, all right, that's cool, no worries.
Yeah.
But I have the group that I have is 4 people. I've got 2 people that want to rotate as stand-ins, and in our story's canon, because we're developing our own world here, we have a schizophrenic barbarian named Him, who will who will be played by anybody that is just filling in.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to explain why
everything's always
different.
Yeah.
Sure.
If people see him in town, they're like, "Oh, that's him." Like
him who?
Yeah,
him. Yeah, him. Exactly.
Don't know his name today. That's why we call him Him.
He's setting up an old "Who's on first" routine there with his name being Him.
But I was so. I basically got where I want to take the story all mapped out and everything, and I'm very excited about that. And I won't say it on here just in case one of my players watches this.
Right.
But
don't be spoiling things that they might not want to hear about yet.
Right. But I mapped out the first session, and I was really stoked about it. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool, and it's gonna further the story. The thing that sucked is we ended on kind of a bad note. I think we've talked about it on the show before, where the guy that was DMing got upset because we made a suck you into your own butthole arrow. And we used it on the big bad.
I think we did talk about this. I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah. Now that you mention it.
And after like, because this will be our third campaign in our little world that we're making here.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I want to switch play systems now. I don't want to do 5e anymore. So you picked up Pathfinder 2nd edition for me, and I'm very excited to start to read into this. We're gonna do 5e for this, this series, but moving forward after this, it's gonna be fucking Pathfinder, and I am stoked.
I hope you're understanding of the fact, though, that it is pretty 5e.
I know.
Like in the way it's designed.
I'm good with that. There's an elegance in the simplicity of 5e that I really enjoy.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go first edition Pathfinder, because it's a little more numbers heavy. Yeah. And I don't.
Well, it's based on 3.5.
Right. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that to my players.
No, yeah, I don't. I mean, now that I've seen a more streamlined version of it, I don't want to play first edition Pathfinder anymore.
So that's why that's so enticing to me, and it's supposed to just scale a little better than 5e.
Sure.
And I know you're like, it's the same.
But again, it just mechanically it's the same.
And I'm good.
I don't know how different it is when it comes to what happens during leveling up and what kind of choices you get to make, or is there more emphasis on this or that? I don't know the ins and outs, but I know that like mechanically it has, the advantage and disadvantage thing that 5e introduced, where you're rolling 2 dice when you have the advantage or disadvantage.
So we actually have a house rule for that, and advantage and disadvantage are add 3 or minus 3 to your roll. So we don't actually roll 2 dice for it.
Rolling 2 dice is the best, man.
I know people like it, but we had it. So when we started, I just did it as plus or minus, and I gave the group an option. I was like, look, man, we're moving forward. We're going to do this one way. So I want you guys to pick. And they're like, we really like the plus 3, minus 3. So we want to just do that.
Right.
So I
just like rolling both my dice and taking the higher result on advantage.
I know you do.
And sometimes that can fuck you.
Right.
I've rolled double ones. Like,
I critical failed.
Screwed. But I've also rolled double 20s. So
Tara and I are going to do some, we're going to make some dice here soon.
Make your own dice, huh?
Yes, I'm fucking stoked.
Well, you better get that little cup of water so you can give them the water test,
Oh, yes, the cup of water.
Do you know what the water test is?
Yeah, to see if there's bubbles in it.
Yeah, to see if the die is balanced.
Yeah, we're going to be doing resin dice, so
okay.
I'm fucking stoked about it, man. It's a ridiculous thing to be excited about, but she was like, I want to do some resin stuff, and I was like, let's do fucking dice. It's just
that's like immediately where your mind went.
Yeah.
Resin dice.
Funny enough, she was talking about it for my shaving brand, Wizard Supply. She's like, hey, I think moving forward, we should do this as like a more boutique thing than what you've done so far.
Sure.
And I was like, that's a great idea. She's like, we should do stuff with resin. And I was like, oh my God. She's like, and we could make dice too that we could send out with some of your orders. I was like, we could just do full sets of fucking dice.
Just make dice, yeah.
And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And she's like, we're talking about shaving. I'm like, dice need to shave.
Jesus. You're ridiculous, man.
I am, but God damn it.
Yep.
I love dice. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I sent one of my players in to see you because he lives in Arnold. When he was initially picking up his dice for D&D, because it was his first time buying dice, he was brand new to D&D. I was like, yeah, go here. I was like, a good friend of mine, Jason, works there. He'll take good care of you. I'm like, I recommend rolling out your dice. Jason doesn't believe in that. And he goes, I go up there and I asked the guy, and he knew it was you.
He knew it was me?
Yeah, because I had described you.
Yeah.
He's like, I asked the guy, should I roll these out? And he's like, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. And I was like, yeah, that's Jason. I'm like, did he laugh? And he was like, yes. I was like, what did it sound like?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I was like, did he have glasses, long hair, and a beard? Yes. I was like, that was definitely Jason. Did you love him?
No one loves me.
Oh, shut up.
No one loves me.
Good Lord.
Not in that capacity, because I dash your hopes, right? People say, I should roll these dice. I'm like, why? It's completely random probability. Like, why? So, what is that going to tell you? I'm going to roll these 5 D20s, and the 2 that roll the best, I'm going to buy. Why? Because the other 3 will never roll good like that? They will.
I always rolled them multiple times and then took the ones that did the best.
That has no bearing on how they're going to do.
It's science and magic, Jason.
It is not.
Science and
It's called probability.
Magic. What if there's an air bubble in it? It's not balanced. Boom.
ChessX does not sell dice that are not balanced. They have come so far.
That.
Oh no, believe it.
We've
busted out the cup of water just to show people.
My first set of dice that were ChessX John Perks bought for me.
Look, I'm not saying they're the best, and I'm not saying they don't have problems. But what I am saying is I don't see unbalanced dice come from their company very often.
Sure.
And that less often is better than more often.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
Because some of those other companies, I have seen unbalanced dice frequently.
Sure.
And I'm not naming any names, but I will say ChessX has been in the game the longest.
They have a quality product, yes.
And they sell a quality product.
They do. I'm not disputing that. Yeah. It's just they can't all be perfect.
So again, it's all probability.
Roll your shit.
Probability. If it rolls good, that doesn't mean it's never going to roll bad. And if it rolls bad, that doesn't mean it's never going to roll good.
I have a set of dice, which I've taken from my collection because these dice roll the best.
No, they don't.
Everybody, out of the dice that I have, I'm not saying in the world, just out of what I have. And
promise you they don't, bud.
And other people have witnessed this, and they're like, hey, can I borrow that? I need to roll that one here. This is a big deal.
Nonsense. You're speaking nonsense.
Speaking the truth. Mm-hmm. It's magic. Dice are magic. Nope. Everybody knows it. It's science. Science and magic are indistinguishable.
Yep, sure. Why not?
We're at that point as a species.
Yep, sure. Why not? Any sufficiently advanced technology must be magic.
Have you seen how your phone works? Nobody understands how that fucker works.
No, we do. We absolutely understand exactly how it works.
That's definitely magic.
It's not magic.
You ever pulled a lighter out of your pocket? Those shouldn't work. You can't hold fire in your pocket. You would die.
Oh, of course, sure. But yeah, I think that's all the nerdy things I'm up to.
Yeah, that's
I am getting ready to start a game, the Zelda game I've been talking about forever, but it's probably gonna have to wait until next month. So,
damn.
Yeah. I mean, I'm ready. All I'm waiting on right now is miniatures because a friend of mine has got a 3D printer and is making me 4 miniatures for the 4 champions because. Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, that's
nice to have those.
Perfect.
You know? Yeah.
No, one of the conversations that I recently had with Tara was like, hey, we need to get a 3D printer. And she was like, do you even know how to use it? I was like, that doesn't matter.
It's not hard.
Yeah. I am not bashing Mike Brodeur at all. He is a very, very fucking smart man.
But why do I feel like there's a but coming in? And you are going to bash Mike Brodeur.
I'm not going to bash him. But he can 3D print things.
Sure.
So I know, and like, the computer is not his forte.
Again, so there's the bashing, right? There's the but.
It's not bashing.
If Mike Brodeur, the dumb guy, can do it, anybody can do it.
He's not the dumb guy.
That was your implication there. No, I'm just throwing that out there.
My implication
if this guy can do it, anybody can do it.
My implication there was computers aren't his strong suit, and if he can figure that out, I can do that. Right.
Again, what I just said. If this guy can do it, anyone can do it. That's what you just said.
Not the dumb guy.
Doesn't matter that you jumble up the words. You're still saying if he can do it, anyone can.
Brodeur is the salt of the earth, and everybody loves him. And I don't like that you're implying that I'm implying that he's dumb because I don't.
Then don't imply it.
I didn't imply that he was dumb. Just that he's not great with computers. Somebody had to be not great with computers. He's good at everything. He's 40-something, 47 years old, doesn't look it. So, God damn it, he has to have something that he's not good at, that fuck. And it's computers. I love you, Mike.
We do love you, Mike. We don't think you're dumb.
No, not at all.
Although Chris was implying it, so.
Guys, go to our website. You can follow all of our social media. That was it.
Show's over.
Fuck this show. I'm triggered. Go to entertainthegeeky.com. You can follow all of our social media stuffs there. There's, buttons to click and links and whatnot. You can use the promo code.
They're probably all around us.
You can use the promo code Geeky to get a free copy of Merle's Truck Stop in Maine, the world-famous one-page role-playing game. Do you have any parting words that you would like to leave these lovely folks with?
Yes, and this is very important. Only take what you can handle and always know your dealer.
As always, stay geeky.